Hey, Just Say Crew. Some of you may have seen me before recently on stream with Say playing some games and answering questions. Well, I'm hoping to be a little more involved in the channel and bring a little more content your way in between my travel for judging and providing stream support for various tournaments. That being said, though, as Zaya said before, let's just get into it. Today we're going to talk about Oden, a deck near and dear to my heart. I honestly was of opinion that the deck was the one to beat in the previous format and had a friend testing with a team from Croatia on a build of Oden that they planned to bring to the top of the Treasure Cup scene. Unfortunately, the EU scene is a lot more competitive to get tickets for live events for, and the Croatian team was unable to even attend in an attempt to show off the monster that they had created. However, in a recent Japanese tournament for OPO3, Oden has reared his head again and come out in the top 8 despite not using any cards from OPO3. I thought it would be fun to take a look at the deck once again with one of the real new toys that it got from OPO2. Alright, so here we've got the Oden leader. For those that don't know, his ability is to discard, to trash from your hand one Wano card. It can be any card, it doesn't have to be a character. So it can be an event, it can be a stage, and it can be a character, obviously. And restand 2 of your Dawn. Now, that does mean that you have to have used the Dawn previously in order to really get the real ramp going, but it does allow you to get some very tricky plays going on. So let's just take a look at the first cards here. So I have 2 Capone. I don't run Jewelry Bonnie in this build, and neither did the other guy there. So 2 Capone fits rather well. 4 Kozuki Momomoshi. He's honestly the bread and butter of your deck. If you have him turn 1, on your first turn, on your second turn, he just fuels everything. Basically, what you want to be doing in this deck is you want to be on turn 2 getting 2 3-drops in. So you want to be going second, having 4 Dawn, tap 3 of it, play a 3-drop, ditch a Wano card, untap 2, pay 3 more, and get another 3-drop. So then we have 4 killers, and then we get into the 3-drops, which, as I was just explaining, is the bread and butter of this entire deck. So we have the 4 Akikus, the 4... Now, I'm going to get some flack for this. The 4 Shinobus. This, again, was something that they were running in Japan. Now, I wasn't running these in my original OPO1 list. This is because in this current meta, we have to be as aggressive as possible, and people like Raizo, honestly, against Whitebeard, are just not as good. So, although I do still run 3 Raizo, the double Raizo play that used to be what you wanted to see as a backup instead of a Kiku is not as powerful as what it used to be. It used to be that you could get a double Raizo play instead of a double Akiku, and you could just drown your opponent in advantage. Now it's just not possible. Now this is the only OPO2 card I run. This is the one change I made over his deck list, which is I run 4 Yamato. He wasn't running any Yamato. I do think the card is powerful enough to include it. He was basically running just an OPO1 strategy, and I do think that this is just too strong not to include. 4 Laws. Again, just a very powerful card, being able to restand and take away the options for your opponent in order to be able to attack, and just keeping yourself in control of the game, keeping yourself as the one with the options and denying your opponent options. Now, this card is one that a lot of people aren't as familiar with. Denjiro is just very powerful in terms of he's a 5-drop 7, which means that he can't be gum-gummed without a combo. So, very important. And then he also, when his effect is when he's got 1 Dawn attached and he attacks, he restands 2 Dawn again. So you've got your Oden leader who's restanding 2 Dawn, and you've got your Denjiro who's restanding 2 Dawn. So then you can actually get to the point where you're doing 14 Dawn plays Or one thing that's common is you'll get to 8 Dawn and you'll do a full combo kid turn, which is exactly why we are running 4 kids. Like, again, this is something that you saw very often in OPO1. You wanted to get to that kid. You wanted to just sit on that kid and basically deny your opponent options until you whittled them out of cards. And that's exactly what this deck is doing again. You're wanting to get to that kid. You're wanting to whittle your opponent out of options and deny your opponent cards. Because we're not on the Bonnie, again, another good card to do that with is the Chopper, because Chopper, his ability is when he's got 1 Dawn attached, sorry, I thought it was 2 Dawn for a second. 1 Dawn attached, he would rest a character when he attacked. So he's literally an Akiku, so he's rested 2 or less. So he is very, very good in the matchup versus Zoro. So you play him down and you can just rest the characters against Zoro, and you can start taking out, again, we were talking about taking out options. So you start taking out their characters with your Akikus resting down their options, with your Choppers resting down their options, and then you use your Law to reset your options so that they don't have anywhere to attack except your face, which just gives you more options. So then we have the 4 Izo. Just obviously it's your searchable 2k blocker, and it's a very powerful card. And then we have the 4 Punk Gibson, which is maybe the premier counterspell of this meta in OPO2, because with it being able to, when your opponent attacks you, you counter, you take care of that attack, and you take care of the follow-up attack by tapping down one of their things. It's super, super strong, and it can keep you in the game much, much longer than you should have been. This deck is one that I played quite a bit in OPO1, to the point that my fiance actually refused to play against it because she absolutely hated this deck. This deck was extremely strong, again, in maintaining card advantage and maintaining a powerful presence on board while denying your opponent their own presence on board. My fiance is an avid red player, and while she doesn't have a problem usually against about playing against these type of decks, she literally could not do anything against this deck and found that she just was not having any fun against it. So, and I am one of those players that believes that at a table, there is a finite amount of fun to be had, and I am the player that wants to be having all of it. So if there is a deck that can get me to the point where I can have all of the fun at a table, and I can dominate the board in a way that I get to have the most fun at the table, then I want to be playing that deck. That's the deck I want to be playing. So Oden right now has kind of encapsulated that when in OPO1 for me. In OPO2, he does have a very strong game into Whitebeard, into Zoro. Whitebeard has definitely gotten, is definitely a weaker matchup for him, but because Whitebeard doesn't run the Gum-Gums, it's much harder for Whitebeard to get over Kid. So if you get the Kid out before he starts getting his 10-drop Whitebeards out, he starts having more and more issues getting over this Kid, especially if you keep your laws in play. So I don't know what you think. If you want to see more content like this, if you want to get more deck lists, definitely leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Like and subscribe to the video so that we can definitely get more like these out to you guys. Zay has given me the opportunity to show off this deck list. I'm hoping to show you guys many more. I'm definitely a big brewer because I do not get the opportunity to play very often in big tournaments. But when I do, I absolutely have a blast, and I love bringing something that people are not expecting. So I hope you guys enjoyed seeing this deck. If you have any questions about the build, leave a comment and let us know. Until next time, I'm Epic Hippo, and this is my version of Oden. Yeah.